Good morning, my Real News Media TV family. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning, and I'm wishing for everyone a wonderful and a blessed Sunday. And in the news this morning, pro-Palestinian protesters demand Jamaica cut ties with Israel. Scores of protesters marched in halfway tree St. Andrew on Saturday, expressing support for Palestine and demanding that the Jamaican government cut diplomatic ties with Israel. Israel is engaged in a sweeping military assault against Hamas militants in Gaza after the militant group launched an attack on southern Israeli communities last October. Israel's retaliatory offensive has so far killed more than 30,000 people in the Gaza Strip, mostly women and children, and has triggered international outrage. Placard-bearing protesters in Halfway Tree on Saturday demanded more action from the Jamaican government in condemning what they label as a genocide by Israeli forces in the region. We are asking the government to stop calling this violence in a very vague sense and to start being specific, Christoph Simpson, chairman and the first secretary of Jamaica Lands, organizers of the protest, said. They have not been open in accusing Israel of committing a genocide, and that is what we wanted them to do. Call it a genocide, it is a genocide. Among the other demands by the protesters are for the government to disclose all deals that it has with Israel and to cut all diplomatic ties. The government of Jamaica last month took the decision to recognize the state of Palestine, a move which has been welcomed by the activists. Our fourth demand was to recognize the state of Palestine and to support its entry into the UN. That demand our government has agreed to, and we welcome that development, but it's not enough, Simpson told the news.
We have four specific demands of the government. This is the second march that we're doing. The first one was in November last year. So our four demands: one is to disclose all deals that our government has with Israel, both Israeli government and any Israeli companies. We're concerned about Israeli spy technology. We're concerned about Israeli involvement in our water and stuff like that. We just want to know what agreements our government has signed with either the Israeli government or Israeli companies. The second one was to break ties with Israel. We want the government to break ties with Israel, meaning no diplomatic ties. Stop recognizing any Israeli diplomat designated to us, expel them, close the embassy, close any diplomatic relations they have. Belize has already done it, Colombia has done it, Cuba and Venezuela have done it, Bolivia has done it. Next thing that we want to do, we are asking the government to stop calling this violence in a very vague sense and start being specific. What is happening in Palestine is a genocide. They have not been open in accusing Israel of committing a genocide, and that is what we want them to do. Call it a genocide. It is a genocide. There's an apartheid system in the West Bank, there's a siege on Gaza, and what's going on in Gaza now is a genocide. Our fourth demand was to recognize the state of Palestine and to support its entry into the UN. Now that demand the government has actually agreed to since our last march, and we welcome that development, but it is not enough. We need to move forward on the other three demands, so we're still pressing for those.
Hope to get out of this more action from our government. Our government must come out stronger. They have started to come out a bit. They have recognized the state of Palestine, which was long overdue, but they need to come out stronger. They need to join the chorus of all the other nations and state unequivocally that they do not support genocide, and we in Jamaica condemn genocide against any people in the world. Importantly, I believe the government needs to start taking action at the diplomatic level, including cutting diplomatic ties with this entity of Israel, disclosing to Jamaica what is this relationship with Israel which has been ongoing and seems to have developed. Thirdly, do not engage in trade or business with the entity of Israel, either at the government level, and to encourage the private sector by way of a trade embargo. No more trade with Israel. So we must boycott, divest, and sanction the Israeli state, which would be keeping with our duties under international law, because Israel has been declared an apartheid state, and they are in breach of 62 United Nations resolutions. And we mustn't forget, this apartheid and Israel is like Batty and Bench. They were the biggest supporters of apartheid South Africa. They were feeding the pickboater government with arms to fight the ANC freedom fighters. And they are doing no different in Palestine now.
Missing man's body discovered at a Forum beach. The body of a man who had been missing since Thursday was found in an unfinished building in Bayside, Portmore, in the vicinity of Forum Beach. He has been identified as 24-year-old Marco Mitchell Donor. A passerby reportedly stumbled on the body and alerted the police. The news understands that a belt was found around his neck. Residents of Armando Court, where he resided, and the tearful relatives had converged on the scene. Golden addresses dual citizenship claims. Opposition leader Mark Golding has responded to claims that he holds a British passport and maintains a dual citizenship, describing the accusations as politically motivated. In a statement on Saturday, responding to the accusations, Golding said he is a born Jamaican who holds a Jamaican passport. I've never hidden the fact that my father, who came to Jamaica from the UK, had got me a British passport when I was a young child. From before first serving in government, I travel on my Jamaican passport when I go abroad. Like other Jamaicans, I apply for visas from countries such as the US and the UK to go there, said Golding, who is also president of the People's National Party. I'm on Banya, but the local government elections and recent polls seem to be driving some to grasp at straw, he said, a jab at the ruling Jamaica Labour Party. Questions about Golding's citizenship arose last week Tuesday when the opposition leader, whose father was British, said he holds the view that Jamaicans who hold citizenship for non-Commonwealth countries should be allowed to seek political office. My position is that dual citizenship should not be a bar to service. That's my own view, and I think the party will continue to have discussions on this, he said at a news conference called to discuss the PNP's decision to not sign the report of the Constitutional Reform Committee. His comments were seen as questionable given that after the 2007 general election, the PNP went to court to have several Jamaica Labour Party members of parliament who held dual citizenship removed from parliament. Among the MPs whose legitimacy were questioned were Everald Warmington, Darrell Vaz, Michael Stern, Gregory Mayer, and Shaini Robinson, now deceased. They all held citizenship from non-Commonwealth states. The move resulted in court-ordered by-elections that cost the taxpayers more than $100 million. In response, the JLP filed a similar court action against the PNP's Ian Hales and Sharon Hay Webster, who has since switched allegiance to the JLP. According to the Representation of the People Act, individuals who hold citizenship in non-Commonwealth countries are barred from sitting in the House of Representatives. Last week, Golding, in defending his position, said Jamaica is in the Commonwealth and our current constitution requires a Commonwealth citizenship and at least 1 year's residence in Jamaica in order to be eligible to be a parliamentarian. The current constitution prohibits non-Commonwealth citizens who have pledged foreign allegiance from being parliamentarians. The constitutional reform process should reconsider the current rule and make it accord with the realities of the Jamaican experience, he added. His comment triggered a response from Warmington, who in audio released to the media on Friday, said Golding has a moral obligation to declare whether he is a British citizen. I heard the PNP president this week calling for dual citizens to be able to lawfully sit in Jamaica's parliament. You know, that is a remarkable and hypocritical position when compared to the PNP's past position on this matter. But you know what? What the PNP president needs to do is to tell Jamaica whether he is a citizen of Britain, said Warmington, who represented St. Catharines South Western in the legislature. He said Golding should answer the question so that Jamaicans may evaluate his posture concerning the issue of dual citizenship and the island becoming a republic.